friends. So this is a deadlift discussion. Um, Deadlifts, I think, are fantastic. They're up there with squats in terms of being incredibly functional and awesome for your pelvic floor, awesome for your glutes, awesome for your alignment, all the things, if they're done correctly. So let's cover what's not correct first. So the deadlift is essentially a hip hinge, which we do all the time in Pilates, right? It's just ever so slightly different. And what I'm using is a TheraBand to help increase my proprioception, or knowing where my body is in space, so that I can maintain alignment. And that might just be helpful. You don't have to use a loop. You could just tie a band around your thighs. Also, a yoga strap would work fine. It's just increasing your awareness of where your legs are in space. So that way, as you head into your deadlift, you can track better what's happening. So we're going to start the deadlift with zero weight and really break down what the mechanic is. Once you add weight and speed, that's when you can start to lose alignment. So you only want to add those two things once you're very clear about what your alignment is and how to maintain it. So we're just going to take a side position to start. I'm not warmed up, so we'll see what happens. What tends to happen, and I'm going to do a very gross exaggeration of what I see a lot in deadlifts, is the knees lock back and people hinge forward and those ribs flare. So this puts a lot of pressure through the knee joint, and it loads up the low back a ton because those abdominals are not connected to support your low back. So we want to make sure that as you set yourself up, those knees are not locked back and that pelvis isn't shoved forward, that you're finding those knees over the ankle joint, and then the pelvis over the knees and the ribs over the pelvis. And in a perfect world, that skull over the ribs. So the compensation, the compensatory movement that happens, right? As I push the head back, the first thing that wants to happen are those ribs. And then if I'm like, okay, I'm going to get those ribs back and keep my head there, and then, oh, my butt tucked under. So, it might not be perfect. It might be the closest approximation that you can find for neutral. It might mean that the head is forward a little bit, but we're trying to stack the bones in the best way we can. And then letting that breath happen back here instead of in the belly. And then you can see how that arches my back. If I can keep that pelvic floor lifted, ribs back, and maybe I should just make a whole other video that's just about breathing so we don't have to spend so much time here, but that the inhale is going into the back and side ribs, and I'm maintaining the connection through the front. So I'm able to expand my rib cage. It's not that the front won't move a little bit, but it's not going to all go there and close down the back. We want to try to get 360 breathing. So finding that 360 breathing, exhale. We can check in with those boning landmarks we talk about in Pilates, the back of the skull, the back of the ribs, the back of the sacrum. The knees are a little bit soft. And then here's my hip hinge. So my spine, it's not moving at all. My spine is staying in its neutral alignment. So if I'm pulling my ponytail, the movement is happening as my pelvis is rotating around my femoral heads. And what happens is that then the sitting bones widen, and I can almost kind of push my femurs a little further back into my butt. So you can go back into your heels more if you need more heel-butt connection, but don't let your toes come off. Those toes have to maintain their connection down into the floor, because they help to advise your adductors, your inner thigh, into that pelvic floor and help with that abdominal connection. So we've done our hinge, right? Sitting bones are wide, tissues are long. This is your eccentric glute. Exhale. I'm gonna lift up those abdominals. My glute and hamstrings, they pull together, and that's what brings me up. And then at the top, I'm gonna think a little bit of lift, but I'm not, boom, gonna shove my pelvis forward. We're gonna find that lift and get long through the quad, but I'm not gonna tuck really hard and clench my butthole. Let's be real, that's what it is. Okay, so finding that neutral pelvis. Inhale to prepare, exhale. Find that connection. We're gonna rotate, 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 rotate. Inhale here. Everything's wide. Exhale. Concentric contraction of those glutes and hamstrings. Pull you back up. Okay, so that's the breakdown. Now, you want to load it up. Let's say we're loading it up. I don't have super heavy weights, so I'm going to double them up, and I'm going to hold them here. Okay, so as soon as we start to load, that starts to happen with the shoulders if we're unprepared for that, right? So finding shoulder alignment, back of the skull, back of the ribs, back of the sacrum. Okay, I'm going to find my feet, take an inhale. Exhale, wrapping those guts back, finding all the things. I'm going to tip, 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 tip. In a perfect world, my spine isn't going to arch, and it's not going to round. I'm going to keep neutral, and I'm going to go, 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 go. I'm finding a little stretch in that hamstring, and I know that I hike through my right side, so I'm going to reach through that right butt cheek a little bit. Inhale, exhale, gather your guts, and pull up. Find, lift, get taller. Inhale at the top, exhale. Let those sitting bones widen. The thigh bones actually internally rotate a little bit here. Opening up through that backside. Inhale, exhale. I'm going to gather my guts up. Booty is what lifts me up. Now, if you load it up and find you can't keep your spine neutral, either lower your weight down or keep practicing with it unloaded until you can make sure, okay, I'm keeping this, I'm keeping this, I'm keeping this, blah, 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 blah. And then I don't love the speed snatch up, which is really common, but if you want to work towards that, the same rules apply. If you can keep your neutral and not clench at the top, but lift up through that pubic bone without clenching your butthole, then you're good to go for the quick snatch up. Deadlifts. I think that's it. Band is optional, but it does certainly give you information that if as you go down, you get rotation, you'll really feel that in the leg. So, good times.